Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3792, and today's date is December 9th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Dark Forces Do Not Want the People to Succeed Economically. Trump is Freeing the People. Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember, the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers. Peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit X22Gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's X22Gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the Privatized Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, their entire narrative is continually failing. And you could see that they never expected Trump to build this economic powerhouse that we now see as the tariff system, the gold guard system, the AI system or technology system, and the sale of energy. And as Trump continually pushes his new powerhouse system, it is now completely overshadowing the deep state system, which is the central bank. And you could see there are individuals and there are groups, and we call them the deep state, the central bank, or as Trump would call them, dark forces. He's letting everyone know that the dark forces really don't want the U.S. to succeed. They never wanted the U.S. to become what the founders wanted the U.S. to actually be. They wanted the U.S. to be, of course, freedom, but an economic powerhouse. And they knew what they were fighting against when they were fighting against the British. They were fighting against the central bank, the elite, the all-powerful system. And that's what we're fighting today, every step of the way. And again, if you have financial freedom, and what does that really mean if you have financial freedom? If you're able to work and you're able to keep every penny that you earn, and you're able to purchase a property without continually paying property taxes and actually having the fear that, oh, if I miss the property tax, they take my property away, even though it's paid for. They never wanted this to happen. I'm talking about the deep state, the central bankers. They never wanted the people to understand that they actually had the power. They had the economic ability to keep everything that they earned. Remember, the deep state, the central bankers, they always have kept the people enslaved, going all the way back in time. When you look at the times of the kings and queens and the monarchies and everything else, if you notice, the people were always taxed. The people were always controlled. The people were always kept down. And the elite were always wealthy. And if you really look at the founding fathers and what they have established here in the United States, they never wanted a ruling system that would enslave the people. They wanted the people to be the owners of their land with no taxes paid. They wanted the people to work and keep every single penny that they made. They wanted the people to be economically independent of the government, of a central bank system. But again, the deep state, the elites, the central bankers, they don't want that. And every step of the way, what are they going to do? They're going to try to stop Trump every step of the way. Because again, once you remove the central bank system, once you free the people, they lose their power. They lose their control. And this is something they do not want. They do not want any of this. And you could see that as Trump came into office and he started to build the foundation and he started to build the economy and he started to put things into place. Of course, they're going to tell you that everything's bad, that everything's not going to work, that inflation's going to rise, that we're going to see an economy that's going to head into a recession. Remember, he's not just taking the system and making it a little bit better and making it look like, hey, look, I made a little bit of a change. He's taking the system and actually reversing everything that they have done. He's taking the system and removing the central bank and the enslavement of the people. That is what he's doing. And you can see, yes, At this point, when you're building the foundation, just like when you're starting to lose weight, in the very beginning, does anyone notice you're losing weight? Does anyone notice that you're working out? Does anyone notice that you've changed anything? But what you were doing is you're building the foundation. You're building something that will benefit you later on. That is what Trump is doing right now. And I do believe when we enter 2026, you're going to see an economy that you've never seen before. I don't mean the first day, of course. I mean, come on, let's be serious about this. As time goes, as we go through 2026, we're going to see everything start to take effect, especially when all of a sudden people are filing for their taxes. Now, eventually, Trump will be removing the taxes, but at this point in time, he can't do this because, again, what do you need? You need money to continually fund the government. Remember, this government that the deep state, the central banks have created is very, very bloated. So he has to do this in stages. But again, what people are going to notice throughout 2026, you're going to see energy really come down. Why? Because he has removed regulations. The leases all of a sudden take effect. The oil companies can start drilling. They could start drilling out in Alaska. They're going to be producing oil. Energy is going to come way, way down, which means all the inflation that we see from the central bank system, well, it's going to be countered by cheaper energy. Does this get rid of the devaluation of the currency? No, but it makes people's lives easier because when you go to the store, when you go and you take a trip up via the airlines, when you travel using your car, when energy is cheaper, that gives you your buying power back. Having the tax refunds gives you your buying power back. And this is going to continue, and it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you can see the deep state players, this is what they're truly panicking about. Because, again, if the Supreme Court rules in the favor of Trump, which I do believe they will, Trump is going to be able to take this country to the next step. And the central bankers, the deep state players, they know this. This is why Trump talks about the dark forces. This is why he's saying, yes, there are certain individuals, many of them, who do not want this to happen because they know it is game over. And you can see everything the deep state, the central bankers have tried with their green news scam. It is completely and utterly failing. Now, of course, what do? They blame everybody else. Hey, electricity costs are going up. Well, you know what? Why it's really going up? It's not because of the green news scam and everything that we're putting in place. It has to do with AI. Yeah, that's it. The data centers, the AI. That's what making it go up. Oh, Bitcoin, mining for Bitcoin. That's why electricity costs are going up. It's all one gigantic lie. Mariana Fall put this out and said, U.S. Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum just called out the real reason your energy bill is climbing. And it's not AI or crypto. Electricity in New England costs 3 times more than in North Dakota. And he says, that's thanks to a bad energy policy, not data centers. He slammed subsidies for unreliable sources like offshore wind, saying some projects cost $11 billion for 1 gigawatt of intermittent power versus $1 to $2 billion for 24/7 reliable supply. Burgum laid into what he called climate extremists, accusing them of prioritizing flashy green experiments over building energy systems that actually work. The result is sky-high bills for electricity that cuts out when the weather does. While lawmakers pat themselves on the back for feel-good net zero policies that don't add up, Burgum says a lot of the higher prices that you're seeing are not related to the AI data centers. The policy choices of the last 5 years, driven by sometimes climate extremists, were the ones that are driving up the prices you are seeing. And when you look at Europe and you look at Germany, you look at Spain, this becomes clearer and clearer every single day. And Trump right now, he is ready to help the farmers out. And you can see that Trump is going to be giving more money to the farmers. Let's talk about how to protect ourselves online. Patriots 40 and up who have Gmail, listen up. Weeks ago, the biggest email hack ever just leaked over 183 million passwords. Yours most likely is out there right now, handed to hackers who steal your social security number, bank details, even your name to drain your accounts or rack up debt in your name. That's identity theft. Crooks pretending to be you, wrecking your credit, your savings, your life while you fight to prove it's not you. But here's your fix. Virtual Shield Identity Protection. Just easily sign up and it scans the dark web daily for leaked info, blast alerts to your phone if something's fishy, like that Gmail breach popping up. If thieves strike, up to $5 million insurance can help cover lost wages, legal fees, stolen money. Plus, 24/7 U.S. experts handle the calls and clean up. You just relax. It even monitors kids' identities before they know it. This Black Friday, take advantage for only $4.88 a month, the cheapest full shield around. Grab it at virtualshield.com/X22. That's virtualshield.com/X22. No more waiting. Your family's future depends on it. Eyes wide, defenses up, X22 out. Or just click the link in the description. Because again, what did they do to this country? I'm talking about the deep state players, the central bankers. They basically offshored the farming to other countries, and we import the food into this country. Because again, they didn't want this country to be energy independent. They didn't want us to be food independent. They didn't want us to be independent whatsoever. They wanted us to be dependent on everybody else, because while you're dependent, they can destroy the structure, the infrastructure of this country. They could destroy the food supply of this country. They could destroy industries of this country, and that's what they've been doing. And you can see there are other countries that were involved in doing all of this. Trump, he put this out on Truth, and he says, Mexico continues to violate our comprehensive water treaty. And this violation is seriously hurting our beautiful Texas crops and livestock. Mexico still owes the U.S. over 800,000 feet of water for failing to comply with our treaty over the last 5 years. The U.S. needs Mexico to release 200,000 feet of water before December 31st, and the rest must come soon after. As of now, Mexico is not responding, and it is very unfair to our U.S. farmers who deserve this much needed water. That is why I've authorized documentation to impose a 5% tariff on Mexico if this water isn't released immediately. The longer Mexico takes to release the water, the more our farmers are hurt. Mexico has an obligation to fix this now. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And once again, you could see that the deep state players, the central bankers, and yes, there's many different foreign governments, they're all fighting against Trump and the people of this country because, again, they do not want this country to succeed. They do not want lower energy. They do not want farmers to succeed. They don't want manufacturers back in this country because, again, it goes against everything the central bankers and the deep state players have done to this country. And that's why Trump now is reversing every single thing. And it's not an easy task. The central bankers, the deep state players will fight every step of the way because, again, if they lose control and they don't have the ability to enslave the people, what can they do to the people? They can't do anything. See, now they have their fingers in everything, and they're able to keep the people controlled. They have the ability to keep the people working hard every single day so they're not paying attention. They're able to take the wealth away from the people, which makes them work harder and harder and harder, because this has been their plan all along. Keep the people busy while we destroy the country. And that's what they've been doing. And you can see that Trump now is reversing everything that they've been doing. I mean, think about it. All the times where fuel prices go up and they say, oh, it's just happening. We don't know why. Well, all you have to do is drill. All you have to do is produce more. Because, again, oil is not finite. The earth continually replenishes it. They called it fossil fuels to make you think that we only had a certain amount. That's fake, phony fuels. I remember going back to the 70s when they said we had a gas shortage because we're running out of gas. Well, really think about this for a second. It's been how many years since 1971 when we came off the gold standard and they try to convince us that we were running out of gas? That's why that's why you couldn't get fuel. That's why fuel prices were going up. Or was that a cover story? Because what they were really doing was taking us off the gold standard and moving us to the petrodollar system. And that was the transition. So when you look right now, you can see that fuel prices are dropping like a rock right now. And out of all 22 states right now, they're below $2.75 a gallon. In 5 states, it's below $2.50. Just like we reported the other day in Colorado, they're below $2. They're at like $1.83, $1.85 around there. It's absolutely incredible. And the other thing that's absolutely incredible is that the U.S. labor market has turned up for the 4 weeks ending November 22nd. Private employers add in an average of 4,750 jobs a week. So basically, this week's positive number hints at an upswing in the labor market after 4 straight weeks of negative pulse estimates. So you have to remember, Biden/Obama, They manipulated the job numbers. They made you think that they were producing jobs. The deep state, the central bankers, have created a gigantic illusion because over this period of time when they were basically destroying the private jobs, they were creating government jobs. Remember, government jobs, they don't add anything to the economy. They don't produce anything. They don't manufacture anything. They do absolutely nothing except take from the country because, again, they're taking a salary. What are they really producing? Are they producing income? Are they producing product? No, nothing. So that was one gigantic illusion to make you think that we're fully employed, while the private sector was losing jobs every step of the way. And now Trump is turning this around. He's getting rid of the government jobs and he's creating private sector jobs. And I do believe the private sector jobs are really going to take off in 2026. I think in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you're going to see the job numbers go straight up because, again, all the manufacturers are going to be coming into this country. Jobs are going to be created. Even if they don't have a plant, you're going to see a lot of construction jobs. If there is a plant that's already prepared and ready for them, you're going to see the manufacturing jobs. So you're going to see a lot of jobs that are going to be produced. But again, you have to remember, since manufacturing has been moved out of this country, the American people have lost their skills. And this is why we still need H-1B visas. I'm not saying, we should just give it to everyone, but we still need individuals to come in here and train our workers. Yes, there's a lot of corruption in H-1B visas, but again, we still need certain individuals in here to train the American worker. So this way, we can actually then take over. Just like when we were moving the manufacturers to other countries like China, Vietnam, South Korea, and many other places, we had workers go over there to train those people. And eventually, once they knew how to do everything, they didn't need the American workers there anymore. Peter St. put this out and said, Ford can't find 5,000 mechanics at $120,000. Nationwide, we're short 400,000 skilled manufacturing workers. America's blue-collar renaissance is running into the wood chipper of a progressive education system that doesn't teach us useful skills. And that's absolutely true. And I think this is why Trump is saying that we really don't have the people to do the job right now. It doesn't mean we won't have them in the future. As of right now, we need to rebuild all of that. And I do believe that's exactly what is going to happen. We're going to start to rebuild everything because, again, we're bringing a lot of technological companies into this country, and we need the skilled people. And I do believe in the next 5 years, you're going to see the skills of the American worker all of a sudden skyrocket like we've never seen before. And Trump is making deals all over the place. And you can see he just made a deal with China. He put this out and said, I have informed President Xi of China that the United States will allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries under conditions that allow for continued strong national security. President Xi responded positively. 25% will be paid to the United States of America. This policy will support American jobs, strengthen U.S. manufacturing, and benefit American taxpayers. The Biden administration forced our great companies to spend billions of dollars building degraded products that nobody wanted. A terrible idea that slowed innovation and hurt the American worker. That era is over. We will protect national security, create American jobs, and keep Americans lead in AI. NVIDIA's U.S. customers are already moving forward with their incredible, highly advanced Blackwell chips, and soon Rubin, neither of which are part of this deal. My administration will always put American first. The Department of Commerce is finalizing the details, and the same approach will apply to AMD, Intel, and other great American companies. Make America great again. And yes, this is what it's all about. It's about reversing everything the central bankers have done. And they forced all manufacturers out of this country. They had one-way tariffs. They were stealing the wealth internally to pay for their system and enslaving the people over time. And now you could see that Trump now is reversing all of this, and he's able to do this because he has a system that can compete with the central bank system. Without tariffs, without technology sales, without energy sales, without the gold card, how would you compete with a system where the system just creates money out of thin air and then loans it to the American people? What other system is there that competes with this? Are you going to start another central bank where we have to borrow the money out of thin air? Or do we create a system based on companies where you actually take the money from other people or other countries that want to sell their products here. Isn't that what companies do? Do they just create currency out of thin air, or do they produce something that people want to purchase? The people pay for the product. Well, if countries want to sell their product here, they have to pay for it. It's that simple. Then we take that money and we use it to fund America. None of the money is borrowed. There's no inflation that was created. The value of the currency stays stable. This system competes with the central bank system. And this is what they don't want. This is why they're fighting against the tariff system. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said, the biggest threat in U.S. history to the United States and national security would be a negative decision on tariffs by the U.S. Supreme Court. We would be financially defenseless. Now Europe is going to tariffs against China, as they already do against others. We would not be allowed to do what others already do. And he's absolutely right. And then he says, because of tariffs, easily and quickly applied, our national security has been greatly enhanced, and we've become the financially strongest country by far anywhere in the world. Only dark and sinister forces would want to see that end. And what are those dark and sinister forces? Well, who's he fighting against? Who is he going up against? The central bank system. And you could see that they're going to fight every step of the way because they do not want this to happen. Once this happens, once Trump gets the A-OK from the Supreme Court and there's no problem with tariffs, the central bank is in big trouble, which means they're going to fight back with everything they have. And they're going to try to stop Trump in other ways. So that is something that we must look at, because you have to remember, now that Trump is now exposing the central bank, exposing that, look how easy it is to actually make the economy great. Look how easy it is to remove the taxes. Look how easy it is to stop inflation. Look how easy it is to bring in currency into this country. He's exposing the central bank system every step of the way. Now, when he removes the income tax from people, the people are going to see it very, very clearly. So the central bank is going to fight back with everything that they have to try to stop this, because once this happens, they're done for. And then you look at alternative currencies like gold and silver. Actually, silver is skyrocketing right now. If you start to look at alternative currency, I do believe the gap between gold and silver is going to really start to close. And you're going to see that instead of, a 1 to 800 ratio or something like that, you're going to see it really start to close up. And you're going to see that silver is going to be worth a lot more than what they've been telling everybody. If you go back to 2011, 2012, back then, silver was like 15. I do believe it'll probably hit, in my personal opinion, 2, 3, 4, 500. Gold, I think, is going to skyrocket also because, again, this is a hedge against the central bank system. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, is a hedge against the fiat system, the central bank system, because the central bank system takes from the people. Gold, silver, crypto gives to the people. That is the big difference. And I do believe we're going to see a very, very big change. And you could see, as of right now, the central bankers, they will not be able to control the alternative currency. They will completely lose control. And I do believe it's already happening. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.